And I'm Mike Field.
And welcome to Forgotten Cinema Lead Up. Each episode, we highlight a film from a popular series and follow it all the way to the most recent release. We'll discuss what we love about the movie, or perhaps don't love about it. But we'll always recommend you revisit it, even the not-so-good ones. Let's get into it.
All right. Hey, Ghostface, how you doing? Back from murdering unsuspecting teens, obviously.
You know, everyone's got to have a hobby. Murdering teens doesn't pay the bills. Neither does this, so I do DoorDash on the side.
I think you should do this. I think you should do this for the whole episode. I really want you to unmask yourself, Ghostface.
I was Mike Butler the whole time.
Oh boy. There he is, Mike Butler in the flesh. That's right. Welcome to the Lead Up. We are obviously doing the Scream series. If you didn't figure it out, we are. If you've been following along on this journey, we know we are going to Scream 7, but we are now at Scream 4. So we are in territory where I know Mike hadn't really seen 3. But we are now deep into the woods of Woodsboro per se, where Butler has not. Does have no idea what's going on until he saw these. So this will be good. So I guess, Mike, what's going on?
Oh, nothing much. You know, I've been trying to leave the past behind me. I've been writing self-help books, very popular. I've been keeping away from Woodsboro, but you know, on the anniversary of I can't remember if it's the anniversary of the murders or the stab films. I'm pretty sure the anniversary of the murders. It's the first or last stop of my book tour. I'm going to go to Woodsboro, do a little signing, do a little talk about how I can help people with their positive affirmations. But don't you know, gosh darn it, I just want to do my book signing, spend some time with my relatives who I barely know, and Ghostface is out there mucking it up again, murdering people.
Ghostface.
Dewey's on the case, Gail's on the case, and you know, I'm just getting too old for this ish. But it is what it is. I'm gonna have to fight Ghostface again.
It is. Yes, it is 10 years after the original Woodsboro murders. That's where we are here now. And we've returned back to Woodsboro. After in Scream 3, we were in Hollywood. We've come back to our roots a little bit. So a little bit of a revisiting of, you know, what we once knew. But anyways, so lead ups are much like our other series. We just got to go through the facts a little bit, a little abbreviated because we've been doing this for the last 3 movies. So, but we'll get right into our viewing notes and what Mike thought. So Scream 4 has a runtime of 111 minutes. It's rated R, production budget of $40 million. It came out on Friday, April 15th, 2011. So we are now, I think the Scream 3 was not, Scream 1 and Scream 2 were holiday films or Christmas films or December releases, excuse me. Scream 3 got pushed to this time in April a little bit, or February, I can't remember. And now we are back in April again, or we are in the first of the Q1, as they call it in the corporate world, for this film. So April 15th, 2011. Its opening weekend, it's at 18.6 million. Domestic total was 38 million. International was 59 million for a worldwide total of $97 million. I do not believe it was the hit they hoped and thought it would be, which is why we did not get a Scream 5 for a lot of other reasons. Namely, also Wes Craven passed away shortly after this. Not shortly, but maybe 4 or 5 years after this film came out. So that's also what hampered it a little bit. Production company was Dimension Films. They also distributed it. And you also have Corvus Corax Productions, Outer Banks Entertainment, the Weinstein Company, and Midnight Entertainment, rounding out our production companies. So let's go to April 15th. Let's go back a week to April 8th. You had a wide release of Arthur. Did you ever see the original with Dudley Moore?
The original, yeah. I never watched the Russell Brand one.
I did. The Dudley, I think the Dudley Moore one is very much of its time. It's got some funny stuff, but if you're not into Dudley Moore, that kind of style of comedy back then, which is, I believe, early 80s.
Yeah, it's definitely.
Yeah. You also had Your Highness, Hannah, and Soul Surfer. The 15th, when this film came out, it went up against wide releases of Rio and The Conspirator and limited release of Atlas Shrugged Part 1. And then the week after, the 22nd of April, you had wide releases of Water for Elephants, Medea's Big Happy Family, and African Cats, which is the Earth documentary. So it's like Earth Day. There's a tradition now around this time in theaters, they release like a wildlife documentary or Earth-friendly documentary, usually in IMAX. I don't know if African Cats was in IMAX, but it might have been.
I think it was.
Yeah. So I believe that is narrated by Samuel L. Jackson, if I'm not mistaken. All right, this film is obviously directed by Wes Craven again. You know his credits: Nightmare on Elm Street, Hills Have Eyes. You've written by Kevin Williamson. He has returned to write this film. There are some other notes that we could talk about as well, but who came on to write it as well. But Kevin Williamson's return from Scream 3, he was not involved. He comes back to write Scream 4. Obviously, he's in the faculty. He's written The Faculty. I Know What You Did Last Summer, and he's writer director of the upcoming Scream 7. For those keeping track, cinematographer is Peter Deming. He has joined us from 2, 3, and now he was the third one. Yes, he's been along the journey. We talked in our first lead up episode where he kind of came on towards the end of production in Scream, even though he doesn't have credit. We discussed that. He's done Mulholland Drive and The Menu. Marco Beltrame is a composer, nominated for 3:10 to Yuma, The Hurt Locker. Peter McNulty is an editor. That's a new editor now because Patrick Lussier, who was doing the last 3, is off directing his own films. So McNulty comes in as editor. He's done Hotel Mumbai, The Master, and the 2014 reboot of RoboCop. Neve Campbell, Courtney Cox, and David Arquette all return as their characters. The only change here is that Dewey Cox is now Sheriff Dewey Cox.
That's right.
No longer Deputy Dewey.
A boy got a promotion.
He did. Obviously, Roger Jackson returns as the voice. And I'm trying to see if there's any. That's it. So those are the repeats. Now here's the new cast, just like Saved by the Bell, the new cast. Emma Roberts as Jill Roberts. She is playing Sydney's niece. She's in the TV show American Horror Story. She's We're the Millers and Madam Web. Hayden Panettiere as Kirby. She is friends with Jill. TV show Heroes and Nashville is also another TV show. Marielle Jaffe as Olivia. That's their third friend. It's the friend that kind of gets it. The first of their friends, they really get it. She lives next door to Jill. She's in the TV show The Secret Life of the American Teenager. Then you have Eric Knudsen as Robbie Mercer, who is the film geek, the film guy. He wears the headgear most of the time. He's in Scott Pilgrim versus the World. He's one of the band members, and he's also in Saw 2. Rory Culkin as Charlie Walker. As Charlie, he is the other film geek, and obviously, and other things. He's in Signs and Mean Creek. Nico Tortorella as Trevor, who is the ex-boyfriend of Jill, but he just pops around here. He's in there. He's in the TV show Younger. Mary Shelton as Deputy Judy Hicks, the deputy that kind of has they don't really come out and say it, but they say she kind of has a crush on Dewey. She's in Panettiere, Never Been Kissed. Alison Brie is Rebecca Walters. She is Sydney's. I don't know if she's her agent or PR representative. But one of those. PR. Yeah. She's in the TV show Community, which Mike and I both like, and to get the movie together. And then you have Lucy Hale as the first false opening of this film. Right? She's the first one, right? Yes.
I think so, yeah.
Yep. Anna Paquin and Kristen Bell as the second false opening of the film. And then you have Amy Tiergarten. I believe and Britt Robertson are the real opening of this film, right? Yeah.
Yeah. They're the real ones. Yeah.
And then you have Anthony Anderson, Adam Brody in there as 2 cops. And then Mary McDonnell plays Kate Roberts, who is Jill's mother, Sydney's, I guess, older sister or younger. Is she right?
Aunt. I think it's her aunt. Yeah.
Right. I apologize. Her aunt. Excuse me. Yeah. So then Jill's her cousin, right?
Kind of. Yeah. It's really kind of like.
How about this?
Yeah.
She's related. So apologies.
Yes, that's why I said in my intro, like, they're relatives. I don't remember what they are. They're
apologies to the purists in the Scream season. Everything blends together. I apologize. Yes, they're related. I want to say cousins. So whatever. There's some relation there, as Butler says. All right, Mike. Let's get into, I guess. Where do I want to start? Because we usually, this is, yes, the originals are in here, but it's not really their story. It is in some regard, but not really. Right. It's more of the new cast, if you will. For those who don't know, we do spoil. So when we reveal the killers, don't be surprised. And you should have seen this film already anyways. Where do you want to start?
Let's start with, I mean, we always start with me. I mean, I haven't seen it, but we'll get into me. Let's start with you.
Sure.
You've seen this before. This movie definitely is more about the history of like kind of like the legacy of the Woodsboro murders more than it is about Sydney. You're right. So like with that in mind, and like, I know you weren't a huge fan of 3. Like what are your thoughts on this movie? Like what's your take, man? What's your take?
Well, I think my take back then when I watched it was I really liked this film because of my disappointment in Scream 3, which I still like Scream 3, but it did, like when we talk about in the last one you could listen to, it didn't feel like the Screams that I, had, Scream or Scream 2, mostly Scream. So going back to Woodsboro was good, was nice. I mean, obviously they go back a little in 5 and 6. So in 4, I mean, this is 10, 11 years after Scream 3. So there was a long wait. So when Scream 4 was announced, so, I was eager, I was, anticipating this. So going in, I dug it after I watched it. I really liked going back to Woodsboro, like seeing Sydney. I enjoyed what they were saying in terms of the whole thing about social media and just kind of like the reasoning for the killers and what they were trying to do. I mean, they were trying to, add in new rules and kind of like introduce that concept of like the update of like, because it's been 10 years since, obviously I says 10 years since Scream 3, Scream 4. So there's 10 years of new types of horror films. I think this is when torture porn kind of gained popularity, and you had the Saw films, and you had like Hostel, I believe. So
I think like, Kirby talks about that a little bit. Yeah.
So yeah, but you have like new subgenres of the horror genre that Scream 4 can mine, and they do kind of a little bit. So when it first came out, I dug it. Upon rewatch, I still like it. I still like I still love the ending. I still like Sydney's line at the end. What is like I'm paraphrasing, but like don't F with the original stuff like that. I know we can pick apart a lot of stuff, but generally I view Scream 4 very favorably. Probably a little bit better than Scream 3, obviously and like I said, we already talked about that. So I do like Scream 4, but I do know that it's not a perfect film. Whereas in Scream, we kind of went back and forth, and I still really love Scream. Scream 4, there's definitely, I definitely probably can find some common ground with you and your concerns there.
You think I have concerns? You think I have concerns?
I don't think you love this film. No.
I really like this film. I do really like it. I like where they were going, but I think they kind of cop out at the end. I do like Sydney's line at the end, but I find a lot of it very convenient, the ending stuff. And I think they don't mind enough once they reveal who the killers are. But I think this is a really good film. I like going back to Woodsboro. I like the evolution of the characters. I like that they're introducing a new generation without completely ignoring Sydney, Dewey, Gale. Like they're still very important within the film. I just think that some of the stuff like toward the end could have been done a little bit better. And I know that there were some more issues with, Kevin Williamson was basically like, the Weinsteins gave me notes and I really like those notes. I know that, like, I think you said, like they brought back Kruger to rewrite some stuff. Yeah. And although Wes Craven says it's just a little bit here and there, from what it sounds like, Williamson was not so much like, oh, it's not just a little bit here or there.
Yeah, that's kind of, I mean, if I was Williamson, I would be ticked off too, because this is your baby. Like this is your series. You started this. To have them come back and bring somebody on, to bring Kruger on to kind of polish the script. And then all the notes I saw from Craven, it felt like he was just trying to keep the peace and be like, he just want to get the movie made. And maybe this is just how, again, how Hollywood operates. But I think I would probably lean on, on the side of Williamson here. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it in the in the Scream 3 episode. I made the George Lucas comparison of he wrote the other 3 Star Wars, and they just went, "Now we got it better than you, George." Like Williamson is the George Lucas of Scream. He made these characters, he made these stories, he made these rules.
Yeah,
and his movies made a ton of money.
Yeah,
for the studio, and they just go, "I don't like your notes, or I don't like what you did. We're gonna bring in this other guy." And to bring back the guy who wrote the inferior Scream too. I also enjoy Scream 3. I think I might like Scream 3 a little more than you do. But yeah, to bring back the guy that wrote the worst reviewed Scream to then do touch-ups on this Scream just doesn't seem doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Well, it's a Weinstein. It's a power move.
I get it. They want the control.
It seems like it's Bob Weinstein's purview rather than Harvey. At this
a lot
point.
of the notes do say Bob Weinstein one. Yeah.
I mean, they got sued by the producer of the first 3 films, Kathy Conrad, because she said that she had a written agreement that her company had the rights to produce all the films. And they were like,
oh,
no.
The first look, right. I saw that. Yep.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, no, that's not what it meant. And it's a false pretext. So it's like, so they were and they had to settle. Again, I side with Kevin Williamson for
exactly.
complaints here. Yeah.
So I wonder, I read a note. I didn't read it on, there's a whole thing on Instagram, and I should have saved it. And it was somebody talking about the plans Williamson had for Scream 5 and 6 had this gone on, and the detailed plans of what would happen to Jill if she had survived, and she would be the heroine, but also you knew she was a killer in the past, but a new Ghostface would be harassing her new perfect life. And I was like, that's really interesting. And a lot of this stuff kind of plays it safe and just like we said, we're spoiling it. Jill's one of the killers. Surprise, which I was pretty happy. I got it about halfway through the movie this time, and I was like, oh, thank God.
Why did you figure it out? Or how?
She had disappeared in one scene, and I was like, I don't believe that. And it was my first guess was what I first thought of her, and I flopped back when she first called Sydney out for being an angel of death. And then 5 seconds later went, I'm sorry about saying that. I was like, oh, that's such a flip turn. No. And I was like, maybe it's not her. And then she did something else where I was like, no, it's got to be Jill. And then when she left her room, Sydney's like, where's Jill? Oh, she went to Kirby's. She's the killer. That's the killer right there. I knew she was going to be one of them. And I figured maybe one of the 2 film guys was going to be the other one, but I didn't know who.
Right.
But I was pretty happy because Roman, I didn't see at all. Roman came out of nowhere. I think that would have been really interesting to have Jill get away with it and not kill Sydney. Killing Sydney would have been stupid, but I think also the way that they brought Sydney back. So a lot of my complaints come from the end, but a lot of the rest of it I really like. I like the violent nature of the Ghostface in this film, which they talk about in this film. So I love that they lead up to that. The kills got to be stronger. They have to be more violent. You can't hold back. This is what viewers expect. And I was like, and as I'm listening to that, I'm taking notes in my head because that's what you have to do watching these films. And it's that's what they deliver. So it's the more I watch these Scream films, man, the more I get why you like them so much. I'm getting really into Scream because of the movie meta-ness of it. And I really like so much of this movie up until the end.
You're talking about the hospital.
A lot of the hospital stuff, some of the stuff in the house. I like that we're out of the Ghostface costumes for a while. But we can get into that. This is just becoming me rambling, but yeah, I really like this movie. I just think the last act is where it kind of falters a little bit. And I would have liked to have seen maybe a little bit more comedy, but I also get that that's maybe not what modern viewers, like they say in the beginning, that might be not what more modern viewers are more expecting.
Yeah. I mean, obviously the first 2 are in the 90s where that was that kind of style. And it's tough because you have a movie here that has a lot of its roots in those 90s, those 2 90s films, essentially 3 because Scream 3 was shot in 99. So those 90s films. But you still have to hope that it's funny because it carries over. It carries over through, this movie kind of pulls that in and you kind of are okay with it. Moving forward, that changes, I think, and that has a lot to do with Wes Craven obviously not being at the helm. So that changes a little bit, but we'll get to those when we get to those. I did want to bring up a couple more script points that we talked about. There are also rewrites done by Paul Harris Boardman, who's done The Exorcism of Emily Rose and Urban Legends Final Cut. And according to a Writers Guild arbitration, there were 8 writers that worked on the script after Kevin Williamson's first few drafts. So this movie was, And again, I think people probably in the business and in the industry, this is just old hat. This is how it is. So don't be shocked. This is just what happens. You get a great script from, this is great. You give it off to your favorite script doctor. Just kind of clean it up for me. Because you want, it's like when Will Ferrell gets a script, he gives it to his guy to kind of go through it, and kind of make it his own. So this is what happens. So So I thought that was interesting that it kind of went through a couple hands there. The one character that sticks out to me where I'm like, are you necessary to this movie is Trevor, the boyfriend.
Oh, Trevor. I feel like Trevor's just there as a red herring. That's his only reason for existence.
I mean, he's dressed like Sidney's father from Scream because he ends up getting tied up on duct tape just like Sidney's dad in the first one. So there is that at the end of it. But he just like, you only hear about him in the opening of the film. You don't ever see him. She's just broken up with him. Is that Trevor on the phone? You know, it's like, so you never meet him until like later. And it just feels like it's like a weird like introduction. And then he's part of the gang, but he's not part of the gang. And you know what I mean? He doesn't have a presence in the movie.
Well, nobody likes him. His presence is like he's basically Sidney's dad at the end, but he's Billy at the beginning coming through the window and freaking Sidney out. Like, and just this vague notion that he probably cheated on her. Like he wronged Jill in some way, but they don't really dive into that. And it's just kind of like, I don't care about him. So if he's the killer, that's really weak sauce. Mm-hmm. So like he was pretty obviously the red herring because of how intentionally creepy and kind of alienated he was.
Did Elise like the film?
She did. I think she liked the kills. Like I like the kills in this one. But I don't think she liked that Jill was the killer.
Okay.
I think she was just kind of like, I don't know where this is going. I don't think she, which, you know, it's fair. Like I kind of like it because it's very cinematic. It's very movie-ish, but like the killer is Sidney's cousin just is very convenient and very like, because you experienced it, I longed to be you. It's like, in real life, you wouldn't long to be Sidney Prescott.
Well, I think that that ties into that theme of the fame, you know, being infamous or famous.
Yeah. The social media, the 15 minutes of fame and all that kind of stuff. So I dug it, but I don't think she was super convinced.
Well, also, I mean, let's be honest, Jill's probably not in her right mind. So she's probably got she's a little deluded and she's got some, you know.
The Ghostface killers are never psychotic. I don't know what you're talking about. They're always fine.
They always seem very logical, and I understand it. Well, honestly, I mean, I can understand Loomis's mom in the second one. I can understand Mrs. Loomis, and she's out for revenge.
I mean, she's got a reason, I guess. Yeah. I mean, Roman's got a reason. Then, if you want to go from there,
this is true.
Billy and Stu are definitely psychos.
Well, Billy and Stu also didn't kill. If we're going to believe Scream 3, they didn't kill, you know, Maureen Prescott. That was Roman.
But he was teaching them the whole time.
Whatever.
But yeah, I think that. Well, I mean, that goes to why I think Billy's kind of like the weakest of the Ghostfaces in terms of like his reason for murder is just your mom slept with my dad. And you won't put out. So let me kill everybody.
Mom. You slutbag
mom. So I liked it, but I don't think she did. I do know she liked that Jill got it, which I wasn't a big fan of. I would have rather Jill, like hearing about what the other screams could have been, or the fact that like I don't know. The hospital scene is just a mess to me. I don't know if I like it.
I like it. But also you have to kill Ghostface and the people that are wearing the mask because the one thing I don't want is that to carry over to the next film, because then you're going to be like, oh my God, it could be so-and-so from number 3. Number 4, maybe she's back. I don't want that. It should be somebody brand new that you don't know that you have to try to figure out because you have to, you know what I mean? Like this film now, this film is the last film in the franchise before 5 and 6, obviously, and 7 coming up, where Sidney and Gail and Dewey are still kind of the main characters. Yes, there's other people in there, but they're still in the mix. In 5 and 6, Sidney's gone, but in 5 and 5, they're on the peripheral a little bit. They're there, but it's, you know what I mean? It's not
their movie at all.
No. So we get into kind of the Scream franchise in terms of its characters shifts a little bit coming up. So this is the last time we see them basically. And I say that they're the leads with kind of a wink and a nod because they are and they aren't. You know what I mean? Like you start, you know what I mean? you basically have it's almost like an unreliable narrator, because you have Jill, who is being set up as our lead, and she clearly isn't. And I wonder, Mike, if, and this is just me asking, let's say this isn't a Scream film. Let's say this is just a plain old film. And actually, you know what? No, let's say it is a Scream film, but Sydney and Gail, they're not in it. Okay. I would suspect that Kirby would be the hero in this film. Like, she would be the one that would be the last one standing, because she's kind of set up like that. They set her up like she's the sidekick. She makes the funny jokes, but she loves horror and she's smart. Like, she's a smart character. So what do you think about that?
No, 100%. Her knowledge of horror films and kind of being funny and smart kind of puts her in that camp of being a Sydney Randy kind of prototype, which I think would have worked really, really well to have your final girl be an expert. She doesn't need to be told what movies are. She tells you what movies are. Right. Almost like she could have been like an Ash of the Scream films. Like, Sydney's a final girl, but she's a survivor. Like, Kirby could have been the one that brings it to Ghostface.
She's like, it's almost like Sydney, like in the first three films have built the character of Sidney Prescott to be this badass woman, badass person, don't mess with, but like Kirby is like built for this. Like, she's like, so like, and it would be fascinating to see, it would have been fascinating, an experiment to see what kind of movie it would have been if it wasn't a Sidney Prescott, a Scream film. But obviously this is a Scream franchise, so it should be Sydney's franchise, which is why I'm excited about Scream 7, because she's back and it is her story. And you know what I mean?
Right.
So I just thought that was interesting, just kind of like a what if scenario here. That was it.
Like, what was your favorite kill in the movie? Because this movie has a bunch of decent kills. I really like some of the kills in this.
I liked Anthony Anderson getting into the skull. I thought that was fun.
Bruce Willis.
and that's obviously because he gets up and he's still moving, and that's based on something that Craven read or heard or saw, where somebody came into the ER and had the knife in his head, and they were still like, up and about. So I like that. I mean, I thought it was pretty stupid of Kate to lean up against the door when you have a mail slot. But like, if you're going to do that, then you should be stabbed in the throat or the back, because you just don't do that. So I thought, that was that death. I wouldn't say that death like is my favorite, but it stood out because I'm just like, when I remember watching it for the first time, I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you putting your back against the door? And then boom, she gets stabbed. So I did enjoy that. I liked the three different endings, three different openings. Excuse me. I thought that was good.
Oh, that's great. I love that. That's one of my favorite parts of the film.
The whole different,
the whole meta-ness, just like overloading on meta, with all the different stabs. Stab 5 just sucks because it deals with time travel. It's like, that's totally something that other horror films would just go off the rails.
I'm going to make my pitch again. I don't know when I made it. I think I made it in Scream 2 or Scream 3. Can we just do a stab film? You
did it last episode. Yeah,
just do a stab film. I mean, like, that's fine. Just make another franchise, do all the crazy shit that you wanted to do in this one that you were like, no, it's not grounded in reality. Just do a stab film. Come on. So what did you like? What deaths did you like?
I mean, Olivia getting killed set the mood for okay, this is going to be darker kills. But then kid with the streamer.
When he's like, but I'm gay, like that whole thing.
Like, I'm gay, if that helps.
Yeah, exactly.
And Ghostface just kind of tilts his head and then
it wasn't a kill, but I thought it was like one of those moments when you find out that Charlie's one of the killers and he stabs Kirby. It was because he really liked her, but he's like, he was like he had to follow through.
That's one of the things I wish they mind just a tiny bit more, because I think Rory Culkin played it so well. Like he's really upset that he has to kill Kirby, and he's like, "Why couldn't you told me this 2 years ago?" Yeah, and it's just oh man, that sucks. And she finally admits that she likes him, and then he's happy about it, but he has to kill. It's really well done. but just like a little bit more of that kind of like now he's torn kind of thing. But he like gets over it real quick. But he is a psychopath, so I mean, what am I looking for here?
Do you think it's not believable? I mean, does he think it's not believable or believable that, he doesn't realize that Jill's plan is to off him at the end? Like he's just, you know what I mean? Like he's just taken aback by like that's happening.
I feel like he's just the kind of like nerd that just a girl likes me or a girl wants to do like, oh, anything you say, yeah, let's do it, kind of a thing. I mean, honestly, watching Scream 1, I like every time. I mean, I know Billy stabs Stu correctly, but every time I watch him, I'm like, why would Stu believe him? Why would Stu is so infatuated with Billy? Like he was like, Billy would never hurt me.
Right.
But it's like, would you really trust a serial killer to stab you correctly? Which I think is what this movie answers. I think that's what that scene answers, is just like, yeah, why would you trust a psychopath to stab you correctly in the shoulder? He gets him right in the heart.
Do you like how Jill injures herself?
I was laughing. It just reminded me of a hardcore version of Liar Liar. Lisa and I actually, while we're watching it, we quoted Liar Liar at the same time. What the hell are you doing? I'm kicking my own ass, Jemai. But I thought that was really cool.
I do like at the end that she poses herself right next to Sydney to try to mirror her. I thought that was good. Exactly. It was a nice little touch there.
It's too bad about Sydney. I would have liked to have written my book with her. Well, we don't know.
Oh, yeah. No. Oh, you hear she's alive? No, that was good. It was good. I got a couple of reviews for you. Sorry. Your boy Ebert. Scream 4 provides exactly what its audiences will expect. One victim after another being slashed, skewered, stabbed, gutted, and sliced, with everyone in on the joke. Maybe that's your idea of a good time. So I don't think Roger liked this film. I
mean, that's the kind of film it is, though, Roger. Like, it's a horror film where people are going to get stabbed and killed, and that's the point. That's You're not there for, deep characterizations where you learn about a character and follow them throughout their life and the mundanity of life. It's about killing and serial killers and murder.
It's about killing.
It's a whodunit. It's a hardcore whodunit.
Yeah, Toronto Sun. This installment is nowhere near the hip, serrated edge blast of newness the original was in 1996. Like, why would it ever be? Suddenly, it's the horror thriller that, like, your parents are excited about. So they're taking shots at old people now. Right. I will say this. I said it before. It's just funny because Scream in 96 kicks off a whole litany of probably like the next 8 years of horror films that look like that sleek style. There's a funness to it. There's teenagers in peril.
Yeah.
Hip teenagers that are popular, not just like, we're just tossing a bunch like a Friday 13th film where you're just tossing teenagers you've never seen before in movies and they're just there to get murdered. These teenagers are, major characters in these movies. So there's, urban legend, all that stuff. I know what you're looking for. And then what ends up happening is obviously that subgenre of horror kind of fades a little bit. And then you start having, like we talked about earlier in this episode, the torture porn stuff, the Hostel, Saw. You start having those type of films, those horror films. And I think you got a little like the ghost story stuff, like The Others and stuff like that. I'm not sure. I'm not sure the timeline on that one, but anyways, so horror changed a little bit. What was popular in the of genre of horror changed, and then comes 2011, and it's almost like, I want to say it's the perfect time, but like Scream 4 comes out and it's not like what is a majority of horror. So it has that little extra onus of being something a little bit new. So I think that it also was a nice, refreshing, like, even though it's nostalgic for the 90s, it was still kind of new for this time, for a new generation, a new audience. So to that point, to the Toronto Sun point, it's like, I don't think it's just for parents. I think, they're just for the people that remember the 90s films. I think it's also for people that maybe were ready for this type of horror film now, to return. Right. I don't think it really kicked off a whole new breed of films, but every now and again, Mike, there's a slasher flick that comes out that I get all super excited for, that I watch and I'm like, all right, that's all I wanted. It's just, like Hard Eyes or Happy Death Day. It's they pop up every now and again, but not as much as back in the good old days of the 90s.
So this is the end of, I would say, I mean, and granted, I haven't watched 5 and 6. We're going to get into that. This is the end of kind of the Sidney Prescott saga as it stands with this section.
Yeah, she is in 5. I mean, it is about her a little. It is about her in 5, but not as much. But she is there, but she's not the main. She's a supporting person that is there. Her purpose there is to be, I guess, a mentor for the two leads that are being hunted in this one. So like, I've been there before. I can help you, or fight, like stuff like that. So it's not, I do like 5, and there are parts of 6 I like, but I don't have as much reverence for those, primarily because they're fairly new, as I do for Scream, the original 4, the first 4. Right. That might change in 10 years if I watch them a little bit more here and there. So I never don't like watching them, but I do have a lot more critical comments to make on 5 and 6. And I'll get into what was going to be 7, but obviously it didn't happen. And I'll get into that when we talk about those, and I'll talk about all that stuff then. But yes, this is primarily this is the last of, this is kind of like the Skywalker saga. This is the last Prescott saga film, or the alien. Right.
So before we go into that, like 5, like you mentioned 3 was your least favorite before.
Sure.
Yeah, but you still like it.
Yeah.
Is that, thinking about 5 and 6, you still like them better than 3 though? As films.
I wouldn't, not 6. I have to see 5 again. But honestly, Mike, I think I separate them in my head, the first 4 between the next.
See, that's what I was wondering.
5 and 6, because of the whole idea that it's not a Sidney Prescott film. Like, it's not. She's not the lead. She's not even in 6. Like I said, I already talked about 5. Now here comes 7. So now 7 to me is almost like a true spiritual sequel to 4. Do you know what I mean?
True 5.
Yes. So I got a lot of high expectations for 7. So I don't want to. I'm trying to temper them so I don't go in. I hate it, but I got a lot of big expectations for this one.
Highest Fandango pre-sales.
Well, that's okay. Good. I'm glad people are excited just like me, because she's back. Because the people that have watched 5 and 6, she wasn't a major factor. So like, now that it is her story, I think that's why people are excited.
Going back to Woodsboro actually having
Kevin Williams is back. He's directing it. He's writing it. He wrote it. So the fact that he's back, it's his franchise. I think that just makes it's a lot easier for people to be like if I told somebody who didn't know, I'm like, hey, Scream 7's again, I'd be like, Kevin Williamson. They'd be like, oh, okay. All right. Okay. Kevin Williams is back. All right. Neve Campbell's back. Okay. So
Stu's back.
We'll talk about this. I don't want to talk about it in the podcast. We'll talk about. I think I know what happens, but we'll talk about it after. I don't want to rank. Let's rank until we finish with the lead up. But
okay.
Does it go? Do you like this movie better than 3 or more than or less than 3? Or do you?
I'm really torn. I definitely like 2 the best so far. For sure, I like 2 the best. 3 is a lot of fun. It has a lot of funny bits, but like we both talked about, the ending doesn't make a lot of sense. I still think you keep that same basic concept of the brother, which is what I thought like halfway through the movie, but Patrick Dempsey would have made a much better, more convincing, more well fleshed out killer than the guy we barely see in the movie who just bitches and moans all the time, Roman. I think that really dropped the ball there. And the end is just kind of a mess, taking place in a Scooby-Doo mansion instead of the set. But it is a lot of fun. Scream 4, I still have issues with those last few minutes, the last few scenes. But the rest of the movie on its whole really plays with the movie rules really well, has inventive kills, really, I just think works and I just, as a whole, like I said, I'm the more I watch these movies as a whole, like I'm loving the franchise more and more as a whole. Mm-hmm. But I think I'd have to give 3 the upper hand, just because I really like Dewey and Gale's relationship in that. And I like Parker Posey as alternate Gale. And like I said, that's something so rare that you don't get to see often in horror movies is an actual relationship carrying through the film. And I think Dewey and Gale are really something special within a horror film, John, in the horror franchise. So I think I'm gonna have to give 3 the edge, but I do really like 4. It's kind of like you and 3, where you're like, it's my least favorite, but I do really like it. I think 4 is probably the lowest right now of these, but I really, really like it, and it's pretty on par with 3.
Okay. So do you like Stabathon? Did you like all that stuff?
I did. I thought that was cool. I liked that the fight with Gale. I was like, it's the 4th movie. Gale could get it. We're getting into the further like where it's like, I don't know who wins and who loses here. I was pretty sure Gale lives, because I'm pretty sure I remember seeing her in other posters. I do know something. I do know one of the character who gets it, just because it's back in the day I didn't care about the film, so it was spoiled for me, and I didn't really care that much to know that. Now I'm kind of disappointed that I know that.
We won't talk about it, but that scene is good. And that scene, you're like, oh, yeah.
That's good. As long as it's worthwhile, as long as it's worthy.
It's good.
But I think that, I think Stabathon was a really good scene, because it also plays to, you get those scenes from Scream 2, which is really cool. Mm-hmm. You get that fight with Scream, and you get the streaming, which I don't think they played with enough, but they played with it a good amount, which now I get one of our patrons, Sean on Patreon.
What's up, Sean?
Was talking about how, mentioned how, the movie was ahead of its time playing with streaming. And that's absolutely true. And now I get that, having watched it. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. Did you know that? I didn't realize this, that the Stabathon is kind of based on what they do in Texarkana, with the movie, the Town That Dreaded Sundown. They have, so that movie, is about a, serial killer in Texarkana that they never caught. And this is in the 70s. This film came out, or late 70s, I think. 76. And they show the movie. They have like a marathon. They show the movie like once every year or something like that. They have this like big event there, and they not celebrate it, but I don't know. Well, maybe they celebrate it. Who knows? So sure. I didn't realize that was, number one, I didn't realize that was a thing. And number two, I kind of want to watch this film now.
I wonder if the serial killer ever attended the film.
Probably. Yeah. So, watch Scream 4. On to Scream 5, on our way to Scream 7. So this is another kind of, Scream 5 was 2022. So
yeah, 5 and 6 were pretty close together. I know
it's another 10-year gap now. So everything you have learned here will change into the next one, which we're going to get a whole brand new cast of characters, and a returning ones, and another returning one that we haven't seen before. So we'll get into Scream 5 at our next lead up. Mike, why don't you let everyone know where they can find us?
You can find us at ForgottenCinemaPodcast.com, or wherever you get your podcast. You're watching us, listening to us right now. Rate, subscribe, comment. What's your favorite of the Sidney Prescott era, of this current Sidney Prescott era that we were watching, like me and Field have been talking about? What are your thoughts on 5 and 6 without getting too spoilery? Because I haven't seen him yet. What are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on bringing Stab into as a Paramount Plus original film and keeping
I will do Stab. Let me do Stab.
What are your thoughts on that? Let us know in the comments below. If you like Forgotten Cinema, we have a new episode every Wednesday. We cover all manner of films. We're talking about Scream right now, but I'm about to edit our romantic comedy Return to Me that we're releasing this week. So we run the gamut of films.
Robert
we really do them all. And check those out. We have other lead up series we've covered. We have now showings. We're covering new movies. Check our social posts. Field puts out every month a lead up of a lineup of what we're going to be doing. We have a Scream short film coming out later on that I think everybody's going to like. We have other shorts that you should go check out. And if you're on our Patreon, I just mentioned Patreon, you get access to our Patreon channel to chat with us. You get access to all, if you want to join just for free, you get access to all the stuff we do, merch discounts in the paid Patreon, and an exclusive series called Look Back, all for just $3. You get all this stuff. We have, I would say probably at this point, dozens of Patreon exclusives for you down there. We got a lot of stuff. Check that out and check out our merch store.
Yep. And before I go, the one fact I wanted to put in there, because we talked about it in Scream 2 and Scream 3, the Dewey's injury from the first film is dismissed in the script in this one. It, quote, his limp is nearly non-existent, years of physical therapy. So there you go, Butler. That's why he doesn't limp anymore. He's doing the work. Doing the work. Good job.
I bought it.
Yeah, no, I know.
When I saw that note, I was like, he does have a tiny bit of a limp. It wasn't completely gone. It's just really gone in this film. Yeah. But you can tell when he runs down the hallway, he's still kind of running weird. Mm-hmm. Like he's not 100%. I think he did a really good job. You're right. I think 2's a little exaggerated with the hand, because I don't think the hand stayed the same in every scene, but I think he did a really good job phasing it out as he went.
Nice. Yeah. All right. So on to Scream 5. We'll see you there. This is Scream 4. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I'm Mike Field.
I'm Mike Butler,
formerly Ghostface. And this has been Forgotten Cinema Lead Up. Take care, everyone.